Rich Dad, Poor Dad. 7 Life-Changing Money Mindsets Explained. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki isn't just a personal finance book. It's a mindset revolution. With over 32 million copies sold and translations into 51 plus languages, it challenges everything you've been taught about money. Today, we're breaking down 7 life-changing lessons from this classic. Ready? Let's go. 1. Rich people don't work for money. Kiyosaki introduces 2 dads. Poor dad who says, go to school, get a job, work for money, and rich dad who flips the script. Don't trade hours for dollars. Create income streams that work even when you're not. As Rich Dad says, the poor and middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. Most people follow the traditional path: education, job, paycheck, hoping promotions or raises will build wealth. But in reality, expenses grow just as fast, often leaving people trapped in the rat race. Instead, the wealthy focus on systems and assets that produce income continuously: stocks, real estate, businesses, even while they sleep. 2. Assets versus liabilities. Rich Dad says it's simple. An asset puts money in your pocket, even when you're not working. A liability takes money out. That's rule number 1 of wealth. Most people call their home an asset, but if it's your primary residence, it's likely a liability. Mortgage, maintenance, taxes, insurance, all drip money from your pocket. Rich Dad's take: a home can truly be an asset only when it cash flows, like a rental or chartered boat, covering all expenses and leaving profit. Luxury car? Unless it puts money back in, it's a liability. Fuel, insurance, depreciation, draining your wallet. True assets in Kiyosaki's world: stocks, bonds, and dividend funds, rental or income-generating properties, businesses you own passively, online digital assets, courses, apps, intellectual property. So first think, does it put money in your pocket or take it out? 3. Get financially educated. Rich Dad argues the biggest financial mistake is not knowing how money works. He says, financial literacy is not optional, it's essential. Poor Dad, a highly educated man, avoided talking about money. He believed going to school, getting a job, and saving was the way forward. Rich Dad, on the other hand, taught Kiyosaki at an early age. You're never too young to learn about money, and started educating him on assets, cash flow, taxes, and business structures. School teaches degrees, not money. Financial ignorance is expensive. Describing it as a stark difference in outcomes, Kiyosaki noted that without financial education, even well-paid people often cycle through debt and struggle. Tip: study financial statements, taxation, investment basics. Your smartest asset isn't your paycheck, it's your mind. 4. Mind your own business. Rich Dad's famous rule: mind your own business. That means building your asset column, not just climbing someone else's corporate ladder. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki contrasts his 2 fathers. Poor Dad advocated getting a secure job and relying on employer benefits. Rich Dad insisted, mind your own business, meaning control your financial future by owning assets, not just working for others. How? You don't need to launch a startup to follow this. Focus on funding assets that generate income: stocks, real estate, royalties, side ventures, instead of just buying stuff. 1. Keep your job, but start building assets alongside it. 2. Track your personal finances like you would a business. Document assets, liabilities, and cash flow. 3. Only spend on luxuries after your asset streams can afford them, not before. 5. Understand tax and legal system. Rich Dad says the wealthy don't just earn, they leverage. They know how to use corporations, deductions, and legal structures to keep more of what they make. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki highlights that employees are taxed on their income before they spend it. Businesses, however, can deduct expenses, defer taxes, and reinvest profits, gaining a powerful financial edge. Rich Dad used corporate structures to minimize taxes and protect his money. This isn't shady, it's smart financial planning. The fact is, salaried workers pay income, Social Security, and Medicare taxes up front. Corporations, however, pay taxes after deducting legitimate business expenses. That means more net cash to reinvest or grow. The rich leverage this advantage, giving them more firepower to build assets and scale faster. Tip: you want to apply this? 1. Choose the right structure. Start as a sole proprietor or LLC to access valid deductions. 2. Track expenses religiously. Receipts for travel, supplies, even part of rent or utilities can reduce taxable income. 3. Consult SMART. ACPA, or reliable tax software, helps identify deductions unique to your situation. 4. Reinvest savings. Dollars saved through tax planning belong in your asset column. Use them to buy more income-producing assets. Play the system legally and keep more of what you earn. 6. Work to learn, not just to earn. This is one of Kiyosaki's most powerful messages. Work to learn, not just to earn. Don't chase paychecks, chase growth. Kiyosaki's rich dad urged him to build diverse skills, not specialize too early. He left a stable, well-paying oil job, joined the Marines to gain leadership, then became a Xerox salesman purely to master sales, not for income. On the other hand, poor dad praised deep specialization. Rich dad insisted on being a generalist, knowing a little about a lot so you can lead across areas and seize broader opportunities. You want growth? 1. Choose your jobs wisely. Prioritize roles that teach transferable skills, sales, leadership, negotiation, over immediate salary bumps. 2. Seek variety, cross-train, rotate through departments, or join short courses, like corporate apprenticeships, to build your knowledge toolbox. 3. Invest in yourself. Take weekend classes on real estate, investing, marketing. These formulas, as Rich Dad calls them, can open big opportunities. 4. Think long-term. A lower-paying role that teaches critical skills can be worth more than a high salary with no growth. 7. Pay yourself first and embrace risk. Rich Dad says, pay yourself first. The rich don't save what's left. They invest first, then budget the rest. And yes, it takes risk, but that's where the magic happens. Kiyosaki teaches the discipline of prioritizing yourself, automatically investing before paying anyone else. He and his wife used a 10-10-10 plan. 10% to investments, 10% to savings emergency fund, 10% to giving. That systematic split builds both wealth and generosity. Implement this by automating transfers, building discipline, embracing risk, and tracking your progress. Watch your mindset shift from fear to opportunity. Bonus lesson: inventing money. Kiyosaki reminds us, rich people invent money. They spot opportunities where others don't. Start thinking creatively. New business, product, or investment. The market's not perfect. It's waiting for someone to create value. That could be you. Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't about get rich quick. It's about building a money mindset. Invest, educate, leverage, and take control. Which lesson hit hardest? Let me know in the comments. If this video helped you, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell for more finance insights. See you next time.